Everyone, this is Shrans from AskCodi, and today we're going to learn how to use Codi Workbook to its best of its capabilities. The project that we are working with today is a pet website which lists down pets with their images, names, their breed, and that sort of information. And we're going to be using Python and Flask to display this website. To actually show you the results from start to the beginning, we're going to be using Replit for this. I have already set up a base project where the main.py is empty because I want to show you how to go from nothing to a website. I already set up the helper.py, which is basically just an information set of some dogs, some cats, and some rabbits. So basically the name, age, breed, description, URL. URL is images. I have taken this from Pixabay, so it's royalty free. Currently the main.py is empty, so we need to start coding. To start with Codi Workbook, just go to the Codi Workbook, create a new project. Since this is a pet website, I'm gonna name it pet website, and we're gonna be using Python for this. I don't need to mention Flask for this because Flask is a library of Python, so we are good with Python 3. Okay, I open this. So this is the first screen you see when you open a Codi Workbook. You have the main workbook screen, and then you have a settings screen. Settings screen is just if you want to delete this project. When you go back to the workbook screen, you see an empty screen where you can write your code, write your input. You have 4 buttons to generate the code, explain code, document code, and write test cases for your code. You can also delete a code block, but since this is the first block, this won't do anything. Okay, so first we need to basically set up an Flask app. I'm gonna go as simple as we can think out loud. Once Cody starts writing, okay, so I'm gonna just, since it's already a Flask replit, we're gonna be running this. We just need this part. So to copy the code, either you can click on this copy button or you can click on the code block itself. That's what it'll do. So we copy, we need the index route. We don't need this because we're not running this from a Python. We are running this using Flask. So we need the command app.run host 0.0.0.0, and then we need the port as 81. So this is just a command to run it in Replit. This is something I wrote down pretty early on so that it let me run. But if you were running this in your own application, this is something that you would have to do. Then you can do Python app.py and this would show your screen. So let's just run and see what's happening right now. Replit starts it, and then we see a hello world, which means at least our home page is ready, up and running. Okay, let's go back to the application. I want to try out something. I want to see it is being run on Replit. Which is quite simple. Flask, hello.world. Okay, coming back to the main screen. Now that we have our index page, we need it to look more like a pet page. So this Flask project is a pet homepage where people can see pets that are available for adoption. We have 3 categories, which is a dog, cat, and a rabbit. We generate this. Okay. So now we see that we need to import something else to continue adding our home pages. Still typing. Okay, now that Codi is completed, let's start copy pasting the code. We already have Flask imported, but we also need to import something called render template. What render template does is it renders the index.html. We need to add an index.html, but first we need to create a folder called templates in the same directory. So let's create a new folder called templates, and then we need to add an index.html in here. So we'll add a file called index.html. We added the index HTML. We're gonna copy paste this code, and we're gonna refresh it again. So let's just refresh it. We need to stop it again and run it again. Okay, so we are to now we can see the home page, which is basically welcome to pet adoption homepage, dogs, cats, rabbits. Now let's get back to coding. So what it told us next is to create 3 routes for dogs, cats, rabbit, and then create a page for each of the animal. So we're gonna do something a little bit different. What we're gonna try now is create a new cell. We're gonna tell Cody that we have a helper.py. So we have a helper.py with the details of each animal in each category, and this is what it looks like. I don't want to generate anything new. I will just add another new. So this is just to add information. So you can add information. This is like adding context to your file. So update index to add a link to each animal header, which goes to their respective page, and on each page display the information from helper. Okay. So now let's generate. Okay, still have this, but now it's added a href tag, a link tag, which basically would transfer it to the respective page. And then we have dogs, cats, and rabbits, and this way it would go to its respective page, and then also send it the data needed from the helper.py. Okay, let's try this out already. Let's update the home page, the main index.html. We can just replace this file. We need to also add this into the main.py. I'm just gonna copy paste it here. I'm gonna refactor it since we already imported this. We don't need to re-import this. We added roots for dogs, cats, rabbits. And now we're gonna do the same. We're gonna create a file for each one of them. So we're gonna call it dogs.html. And then we're gonna just copy paste this. And before I do the other pages, let's just try it out. So I'm gonna stop and rerun this. So now we can see all of these are clickable links. Since we only created the dog page, I'm only gonna go to the dog page, and I see there's an error. It says template not found dogs.html. Okay, there's another, we need to rename it and call it dogs.html. Rerun this. Let's go to dogs. And now what we see is we see adoptable dog, Spot, which is age 2, Dalmatian. We have Shadow, and then their age and Border Collie. So we see that once we add the page for every animal, then it will show up as needed. But let's see if we can make this a little bit more dynamic. Make the animal pages dynamic so that I don't need individual pages for each animal. Okay, so certainly we can make the animals page dynamic. That is something that is good. Okay, so for every animal, it created a separate page, which is animal, and then there's a category tag, which basically is replaceable by either dog, cat, or rabbit. So I'm gonna, and then we have an animal.html, which would have animal category. Okay, let's try it out. Let's copy paste this into main.py. So instead of separate pages for each one of them, we would update this. Since we already have that, just clean it up a little bit. Category, pets category, and this. Okay, so for this, we need animal.html. I'm just going to rename, I'm actually going to add a new page. It's called animal.html. And to be a folder. I'm gonna add a page inside templates called animal.html, and then we're gonna copy paste this animal HTML code, and then we have this. Maybe we still need to update the hrefs. We'll need to call it animal/dogs since it's a custom page, and then we're gonna refresh it again. Can it go to cats? No, it didn't refresh, so I'm just gonna stop and restart again. Okay, so we had a page for dog. It's still there, so dogs should still work. But now this time it's going to animal/dogs. It's still working. I need to go back. Okay, see, I don't have a way to go back to the home page. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a back to home page button on the animal page, and then we can generate this. Okay, the animal page is still being seen. We just added another a tag at the end which says back to the home page. So I'm just gonna copy paste this. I'm gonna go to animal.html, paste it, save it, stop it, run it again. So let's go to cat this time. We never created a cats.html yet. We have a cats page with basically the breed and everything, and now we have a back to home page button which will take us back to the home page. So this is a basic design of how you can create a web page using Flask, Python, and AskCodi now.